So karibuni sana to our career talk this evening. I am so passionate to push this agenda so that we, number one, we can inform each other about how to navigate the systems here. And secondly, also to shape up that image that we can also belong to that category of professionals. So that is why this topic is very, very dear to me. And every time I get someone who will come and inspire us with their story, I'm like, when do you have time? And Tracy has featured before. We've hosted her before, and she told me, Carol, I want to come back again and share my story, because I lived in an environment where people did not believe in my dreams. And we know all that it happens, especially when we meet people who do not believe that we can become what we really want to do. Just hold on a minute, Joanna. Yeah, so thank you so much, Tracy, all the way in Hanover. I will do a short introduction and then you can start. Before we start, I would like to remind you of our event, the end of year event. We decided to come up with a topic of meeting people who can help us to review our career and business goals by sharing their stories. We have very interesting panelists. Make sure you check the list to see who they are. Kizito being one of them, quite rare guy to get hold of. And I'm very, very happy to have them joining us on this day. So make sure you share the link. We also have a section for kids. We are hoping to start introducing STEM for children, and also have some activities for our children, that when we go for events, we have someone to take care of them. So that's a short. I'll drop the link in the chat so that at least you can know. If you haven't seen it, just click on register and then you book your ticket on Eventbrite. So let me go back to my guest. I hope you can all hear me, can see me. Yes. Tracy came here as an au pair, just 2-3 statements before she joins us. And she worked up all the way, and now she's working for one of the top companies in Germany. A wonderful soul, very optimistic, a person who believes in God, who is very strong in faith, and who is ready also to mentor people. So Tracy, over to you. Introduce yourselves and then tell us why all the way to Germany.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you for inviting me. It's an honor, always an honor to share my story to whoever it can, encourage, or at least they can have some lessons to learn from the path that, I took or I found myself in. And yeah, I'm really glad to be here. Yeah. Tracy Cherogony is my name, and I think there's a lot on the biography on the career AG Career Hub page. Yeah, and yeah, thanks so much, Carol.
Karibu. People always ask, or I normally ask these people, why Germany? I mean, someone like myself, it was not really my plan to come to Germany for my studies. I just found myself here because I have a relative who had studied here. So some people came here planned, like they knew I am going to the STEM country. Others just came and found themselves here. So, but take us back, why Germany, and how did you manage to transit from au pair now into saying, I want to go and deal with the hardware?
Yeah, so why Germany? I had German in high school. I was lucky to go to a high school that offered German as a foreign language, and the teacher was also German, and he had already organized a lot of pupils to come to Germany for studies, for au pair. Actually, he was really coordinating a lot for the au pair program. And so when he used to talk to us and tell us about the people who've come here and how successful they are, I really got encouraged and wanted to, also come to Maju. And I think also one of my greatest motivation is when he told us that, in Germany, you can study and work and finance your studies. So being a person who really wanted independence, I felt like, okay, if I get to finance my studies, then, I don't have my parents to tell me to do this and that, it was really a big motivation for me to just finance myself and also do do things the way I want to do. And yeah, that's the story. But the background of it is that I actually landed in a school that I didn't really want to go to. In primary school, I wanted to go to after the exams, I wanted to go to a national school, but I never worked hard for it. I never did anything, and so I landed up at Loreto Matunda. And yeah, since it offered German, I took the opportunity and the advantage that it had of at least having a foreign language and a boost, for career. And yeah, so I mean, the fact of going to Germany and having to finance my studies was my main motivation, but I didn't know what it takes, and so I just put an asterisk there because I'll come and talk about it later about financing your education single-handedly from here. And why engineering? For me also, growing up, I just wanted a career with a lot of money. And even the first, growing up, when our house help told us that she gets money at the end of the month, I felt like, yeah, that's the job to do, that's what I'll do in life. I'll just be a house help and get money. And I felt that is what I want as a career. But growing up and going to school, you realize there are so many different careers to choose from, and I kept changing from one career to the other. And in high school, I felt like, oh, medicine is where you can it's a big field where you can do a lot and help a lot and still also earn money. So I wanted to be a doctor and really worked hard to worked hard in biology. But towards the mid of high school, when I also got the motivation to come to Germany, I also grew cold feet about studying medicine in a foreign language, and developed the interest of wanting to do something technical in Germany. And because if it's in the German language, I thought like, okay, technical stuff would only be more of numbers and less of language. And so I went into the STEM or actually the engineering path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so after school, I applied for au pair and came here now as an au pair. And
nice. Let me interrupt you, Kidogo, and just go back to our topic. Thank you for the brief introduction, Tracy. Of course, it's always a puzzle because some of us came here with no funds, with nobody to help them, and I know sometimes it was a real struggle trying to pay up the bills. So I keep talking, when I'm talking to young people who would like to come here, whom we coach, we tell them, look, it is possible, but you must have goals. And if possible, hang around with people who believe in your dreams, which was not the case with your story. And I remember when we were discussing, I had posted a story of a friend I know, and then you shared with me, you said, Carol, this is exactly what happened to me. And then we settled on this topic, finding truth in intimidating drawbacks. Wow. Yes. Maybe you can take us there, and then I will try not to interrupt so much, that at least you can take us back. What really happened?
Yeah.
And how did you manage to get out of this cave? Because most people are in these caves. They come into a country where they're told, das ist in diesem Land nicht möglich. It's not possible. We have not done this before. This is not very common for this particular group of people to get these jobs. You cannot work with these companies. But he said, the God that I know will take me there.
Sure. Yeah, that's true. From where, when I came to where I am right now, like there are a lot of intimidating circumstances. And you know, when you talked about that, it just also reminded me of a statement that I ever got. But now, while thinking about what to talk today, it's not only like intimidation from people themselves. You know, it's not only like people who intimidate you. Also, circumstances can really be intimidating to you, and so I'm just going to touch on all of them. You know, it's not only about people, but then like I remember, you know, when you see someone successful at something, you know, you always think like this person had a clear plan, and you know, like everything ran smooth, and that's how they achieved, you know, what they want to achieve. But what I know is that like having gone through what I've gone through, I know like it was a rough path, muddy and everything, and still I feel satisfied with the whole journey. And what I know is that I believe in a sovereign God, you know, who directs. He's the one in control of life, and he makes everything work, you know, for his good. And so for me, you know, if bad things happen to me, or if I lose an opportunity, I know that somebody else has gotten that opportunity, and it's for their good. Or if, you know, I mess up at something, I know that if I correct myself, it's also a lesson for someone else, or at least an encouragement at some point. So that's how I take life. And just to go back to the topic, so my journey started, you know, like when as an au pair, and I'm just going to go through some of intimidating circumstances that happened to me, and how I can reflect and so how you know, like things went. I remember, like, I got a very, very good au pair family, and we had like the similar moral values, and they even like were supportive about me wanting to study here in Germany. So when they told me like, oh, what would you like to study? And I was like, yeah, I'd like to do something with programming, engineering. And they asked me, you know, like, have you ever done programming from, you know, like, did you do it as a child? Did you, you know, have you already just muted myself. So they asked me, you know, have you done, hast du schon mal gebastelt oder so? And I was like, okay, I've never done that, you know, and it really shook me, you know, like probably they were just asking me, thinking that I already have some background experience, but I really had no match, you know. I had done physics in high school, and if you compare the physics in high school in Kenya, at least during my times, and what people learn here in the physics class, we are really worlds apart. And so what I had was, what I brought to the table for the university was really nothing. And so I felt really intimidated, and I took time to question myself, you know, so does it mean I shouldn't study that, you know? And I just had to, you know, think through it carefully and find out like, what's the truth here, and how am I supposed to go about it? And I just settled to the fact that as long as the university does not refuse me to study that course, then I'll be the first one, because there's no way then you can say all Kenyans up to, you know, like the time maybe during my time who have not had any background experience should, you know, not study this course. So I told myself, if I'll be the first one, then yeah, I'll be the first one, you know, and that's the only way we can, you know, we can do it. That's the only way we can come through. You know, if we say that we didn't have that experience when we were young, or we were not exposed to such, to all what they have, then we shouldn't do it. We'll never improve ourselves as Africans, or as, you know, like the people who are disadvantaged in one or another. So yeah, anyway, what they said was really true. And when I'm now like transitioning from au pair to like into the university, I had to go through student colleague, which is this bridge between like the Kenyan high school and the German university level. And so first of all, even to just change the visa was, you know, like such a crazy thing, and also intimidating, because you want to finance yourself. You are new, you're moving out of the au pair family where they catered for everything, your health insurance, your housing, everything. and you now have to stand on your own. And then there's this triangle, you know, where the Foreign Office asks you, you know, to provide your source of finances, which would be working. And when you go to apply for a job, they ask you for your papers and ask for your address. And when you go to ask for a house, they ask for your, you know, like your job. Or so there's just this triangle that I didn't know, where do I start from? You go to one office, they want something that you don't have. You go to the other office, they ask for something that you actually need from a different place. So anyway, tackled it in one or another, and yeah, got a Verpflichtungserklärung from Kenya, actually, which rarely happens nowadays. And so could start my studies. Yeah, so student colleague in itself was also a challenge for me, because I found the unrelatability of things. Like I did my student colleague in Hannover, and it was a small city, and very few Blacks also in the class. And I was also the only one who was hustling, you know. Or like you could meet other students and they're like, oh no, my parents are financing me, or I have my cousin here who's supporting me. So there was no one I could really relate to just like, oh, here's where to get the jobs, here's what to do that. And so like the classes used to be, you know, in the morning hours, and then in the afternoon, well, when the others go to, you know, like rest and eat and revise and study, I had to look for, you know, work to do. And so it was quite tough, but somehow I still used to manage, thank God, you know. And yeah, so finished student colleague, you know, just barely passing, and went to the university. And that's where the humbling experience, you know, like started. Yeah. So I started.
Let me briefly interrupt again. We might have people in the forum who are doing the student colleague, and they find it really hard. Not that you've done German as a foreign language, and then you go to class, you have to do things like Mengenlehre or mathematics or chemistry and physics in this language. It is doable, and it's actually when you switch now to the university, that's when you really know that what was happening in the student colleague was really nothing. So
yeah,
don't be worried about that. You'll handle it, but it's a very good preparation for what is ahead of you.
Yes, it's made light, and you're also kind of competing against the same people you're struggling with language, you know, because when you go to the university now, you're put at the same level with a German who's lived here all their life, and trying to, you know, like, and you have to study the same things. So student colleague is really important. It gives you just a base to, you know, like get into the German system without Germans, you know, without being levelized with the Germans. But then now when you get to the university also, it's a big thing. But in my naivety, I thought like university is like student colleague. You just revise a little bit of things, and you know, you get to pass. And so, you know, like started out my first semester, you know, really wanting to work hard. I mean, I wasn't on a honeymoon. I knew I had to work hard. I knew I have to also job, you know, like do jobs in order to finance my studies, pay my rent, do everything. And I remember in the engineering class when one of the professors, you know, like on the first day of class, and the professor was like, so for this course, only 20% pass the exams, 80% fail this exam, you know. And, you know, I just looked around in my confidence. I was like, can never be me, you know, like, I mean, I work hard. It's not like I sleep. So I thought like that can't be me, you know. And in the first semester, when we did the exams, we had like 4 exams, and yeah, I failed everything. Actually, all the other courses, I literally failed everything. And because I just had not gotten used to the system here, and I was not sleeping. I was really, you know, trying to study, trying to, you know, like make ends meet, go to work, after work, come back and try to, you know, catch up and revise. But I really just did not know how to go about it. And yeah, so like failed this exam and I didn't even, like, I just felt like, oh, I can continue, you know, like I'll this is just it's a mistake, but I'll do it the next semester, and yeah. So I realized also that I had, as much as I had German in high school. I did German during the au pair period. I did student colleague, and I could understand much. Like I could speak German to people. I could understand when people speak to me. But then, like, also studying in German, like reading a German book, was such a hard thing for me. So I realized, like, my problems would, I thought I wouldn't have problems with the language because I was kind of good at it, but also to study in that language was just not that exciting. And yeah, so until the third, like for the first 3 semesters for me, I was just trying to adjust to the system and feeling that I can, like, yeah, I was really confident, I can do it, and trying to balance work and everything, until I was humbled to come to know, that if I have to finance my studies and I have to work like maybe 50% of my time, then also my achievement during the studies would be 50%. I thought I was a superhuman and could do 100% work and 100% studies and 100% social life and 100% spiritual life. But I realized in order to balance all this, I need to understand, like, what is at stake, what is on my plate. And so I stopped putting myself in the same level with my counterparts who have a different kind of lifestyle. Some people who are living with their families, who would get their laundry done, they would, get food cooked for them, and just coming to understand, like, my lane is totally different, and I have to accept my lane and the choices I make, because also for me during my studies, I didn't give up on my social life. I continued also being active in a social life, in my spiritual life. I just, wanted to balance all of them. I wanted to go, not to neglect any. So I had to humble down and say, I can't, like, I'm not going to compare myself with anyone, but I'm going to follow my lane, And it's until the 4th semester is when now I understood the system here in Germany, It's not about transniting late into the night that will make you pass, because I would study with Germans and, like at 6 o'clock, somebody would just tell you like, I'm really tired, I'm done for the day. And you're like, these people are so lazy. And, having also this background from people from the US telling you that, in the US universities, people, people are lazy or people don't really work hard. And as a Kenyan, when you just go there, you start passing with flight colors. But I must say, for the people I had here, they were hardworking, they were effective, and so if they would study from 9 to 6, they were good, like they did their work effectively. And I had to come and learn that. I had to come and learn that, if, like, also the German system allows that you don't have to do all the exams at once. The semesters don't go like in Kenya, where you all finish at the same time, you all go through the same syllabus until the end. So when I learned that, I had to also start making my own plan of how I want to finish school and taking less courses so that I perform best, because if I also take so many classes, because, every time I was failing, I had to carry that class to the next semester. And so, my exams were just piling up from 4 exams to 8 exams to, 13 exams. And I really still wanted to go on like that. But then I came to learn, no, just do the minimal, because if I do 13 exams and have 100% energy, then I'll be dividing among, my energy among all these 13 exams and barely achieving anything. But then if I try to just like focus on 4 courses that will help me attain, like some credit points, then I can at least give, a good percentage on them and help me pass, the exams. For me, bachelor's was just about passing, because like it was, I was really, having not so much background experience, trying to learn the system. And at the beginning, I was like, I'm here to study to understand. But then I realized at some point, you're just studying to pass. And I came to realize actually what even my host family was telling me, just because I also did not have that background like I wasn't raised up in that background, understanding was not that easy for me, you know. And it's like, as much as it felt intimidating, it is true, and but it shouldn't really make one give up or not do it, you know. Yeah, so I remember I used to really feel scared about doing going to the lab to, you know, like put into practice what you've learned. It used to be a scare for me during my bachelor studies. And yeah, towards the end of my bachelor's, I'd now like kind of gotten the system, and doing my bachelor thesis, I also got a really nice supervisor who guided me well, and in a nice institute, and I now felt like an engineer, you know, after, you know, starting a project, which, you know, like you start with your ideas, and you know, you make it, you come and, you know, you take 6 months of your time to work it out until you see your ideas materializing. That really kind of boosted me, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Let me also throw a question in between. We'll have a Q&A session towards the end. It is a struggle for many students, especially those who have to finance their studies here. And I went through the same, and I know how difficult that can be. And when we speak to students, we tell them, look, you came here for studies and not to work. Yeah. And sometimes it's also difficult, like you have so many exams and you're like, okay, now which ones do I do and which ones should I put aside and do them in the next semester? Maybe you can talk to the students in the forum who are like in that situation. They have to work, they have to study and to pass these exams, and they really do not know how to strike the balance. Like personally, what helped me, I had a very low budget, very, very low budget. And I also interacted with German students a lot. So like if I did not understand the subject, I would follow up. I identified a few people who I knew these ones they will help me. I also learned with some foreigners, but I focus more on learning with the Germans because someone told me they understand the systems, they grew up here, and that really helped. Yeah. So maybe from your experience, you can also throw 3 tips like how you manage to strike the balance and having done such a very technical course.
Yeah, I mean, for balancing work and studies, it's really an art, you know, because it depends with how your course looks like. For example, for us in the engineering course, you know, like you'd have your classes during the semester, and then the exams would be, you know, like you have a 3-month break, but your exams are spread all over the whole, you know, semester break. And what was in my mind is that, oh, you know, during the semester you study, and then during the holidays you work. So I came to learn very fast that no, during the semester break is when I really need to learn. So I had to change my ways, and, you know, also balance jobs. I never did just one job. I had to, you know, like find a creative way of working much during the semester, and then during the semester holiday to do like a job that requires shorter time and at least keeps my account just at tabs, you know. Some also just take a block of time and go and work. For example, in this, like here in the north would be the Volkswagen outlet, or, you know, and really earn a lot. I didn't get to do that because my exams were always spread throughout the semester, and I had to just like for me it was just trying to keep my account, you know, like balanced the whole time. And yeah, so that's about finances. Like you have to really be creative and find a balance, and don't I never wanted to divert my attention in, you know, trying to also focus on buying land in Kenya, or trying to build my parents a house, or, you know, like trying to do so much with your money, yet we really, you know, you have to also focus on your studies first, you know. Otherwise, again, I studied for a really, really long time, and if I had also spent my money in other places where it's not necessary, I would have been overworking myself and never maybe finished my studies. So yeah, that's to it, you know. And yeah, I don't know if I've answered some.
Yes, you did. Yeah, of course we'll have a few interaction later on from people like Brian and the others. They might have 1 or 2 things to add onto the discussion. Yes, you did. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like I remember during my end of bachelor's, there's this messe I was invited to, and I wasn't so sure what I'm going to do there, and I almost felt like, do I really need to go to this like career messe? Messe is an exhibition, right? So it was a career exhibition, and I was like, oh, let me just go. Maybe I'll get something for my internship later, or and so I attended it, and like there was so much pressure after registering that you need to write a CV, you need to do this, and I felt like, I don't have the time for it. But I remember I was now pushed to the limit to write my CV and present, and a company was really interested in us, and it was I went with a friend of mine, and so a company was interested and wrote to us, to meet at this career messe and get to know us, So when we went to meet with them, they're like, oh, are you in a position to do an internship at our place? And for me, I'd not even started my master's, and internship was during the master's. So I said, maybe later, but then I also asked, can you offer me a working student job? And they're like, yeah, we can. And so I landed into the working student, trainee student job for the master's. And it really, really boosted my knowledge now, and even the confidence having, like being really separated from my counterparts who had experience when they were young. I worked there for 3 years when I was doing my master's, and it really boosted my knowledge, because I was working with the engineers hands-on and doing, like working in their office, doing everything they're doing. And that really, really helped me. Yeah. And so master's was a bit smooth for me, because I had at least a fair job, and also that's where I did my practicum, and it took, it went really faster. So after master's, it was now job searching. And as much as there's the saying, like the engineering jobs, or if you're doing engineering, you'll get a job. I had been in these studies for 8 years. I've seen people getting jobs immediately, and I've also seen so many people tarmacking for a long time, even Germans. So I didn't count myself as one of those who will just get a job immediately. I knew it will take time, and I'd gathered all the energy somehow to know that it can take really long, and I know I have to fight with the Foreign Office, and to still use my 18 months or even probably more. Yeah. And so when I finished, I went home to relax a bit, and then came back and started applying for studies, and writing my CV. I really, really hated writing a CV. I don't know why. So I was just forced to write. I asked a German friend to help me, he was in the same field as me. I asked him to help me, construct my CV, and we did that. And a friend of mine also offered to send my CV to somebody who's a professional, CV correcting person. I don't know the name of that, but yeah. So with that, I sent my CV to this lady who was, was supposed to professionally check my CV and help me improve it. And this lady just called me back and was like, "Yeah, Tracy, your CV is very boring," And I really felt so intimidated and devastated, because I'd really worked on it, and I was not ready to change. I didn't feel like changing it, and I had to also come and look at this statement, because it was really intimidating to me, and look at the person's statement and what I have at hand. I really believed in the CV I did, in terms of the technical part, and also had to weigh, this lady, first of all, is not in the technical field somehow, and wanted my CV to be probably entertaining in a different way. And so I just told myself, hold your peace, Tracy. Try make 2 of them, the one that she suggested, kind of entertaining. And then I just put my dry, technical CV that I had, and I used it to apply, I used the entertaining CV to apply to one of the jobs, and never got any response. And then, but when I looked at my CV, I knew what I'd written. I felt the passion of what I had put in there, and I I started using it for application, and I was like, if it doesn't work, then I'll really go and, you know, do something about it. So when I sent this dry CV to the first company, they called me immediately and asked for an interview. And then while at that, since the job was, I live in Hanover and the job was in Hamburg, I felt like, oh, I really don't want to go to Hamburg. So I started searching for also like companies here in Hanover. And for the job that I'm working right now, to be very honest, I searched it on Google with just what I had studied. I just typed in, you know, like RF engineering and high frequency stuff, electrical engineering, all those terms, and just put it on Google and found this job offer at Bosch. And I was like, yay, this is a chance to try a big company and gain some experience. I knew I would never get it. So I went first of all to the interview in Hamburg, and the person was really impressed, but also wanted my software skills. But I had specialized more on the hardware side. And but he really kind of gave me a boost about you know, about my studies and about my confidence and everything. So with that, I applied for the Bosch, like for the Bosch job, you know, and you know, when you know you like, I don't know, I knew I'm not getting the job, or it's too high for me, but I still also did not want to embarrass myself, you know. So I kept really pushing myself to send that CV to Bosch. You know, I was just like, I'm seeing this offer, it's still there, but I really need to have something good that will make me go there. But you know, with time, I just said, like one afternoon, I told myself, okay, just push that button, you know, just send it. And I sent it, and like at 3 and at 5 p.m., the department head had already contacted me asking for an interview the next day. And yeah, so went through the whole interview process, and they took me, you know. And when they took me, I felt like, okay, it's maybe because they wanted diversity in the team, they wanted maybe a woman, a black, a what, you know. And so when I started working there, I asked my boss, like, why did you guys choose me, you know? And I found it really interesting with, you know, like he never mentioned anything about, you know, like like he just said you had the most points, you know, you had the most balance of your soft skills and your technical
skills.
Technical,
Wow.
What is it? What's the word? Like my what I can do, you know, like what I could
competencies, yes.
Competence, yeah. So I found it really also relieving to know that I was just not, you know, chosen because you're a woman, you're black, you're, you know, just for their own good, but they really wanted me in the team. Yeah. So kind of that's my journey to where I am, and very satisfied with my work. I thank God. And yeah, working in a team with people almost double my age, and I enjoy working with them, and we have like equal eye-to-eye respect, and we do our work with, you know, with joy, and yeah, quite a nice team. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, lovely story. So yeah. I have 3 questions. I've seen, like, my daughter is 10, and they've started like touching on some of the STEM things at age 10. And when I compare when I was that age back in Kenya, there was nowhere I came across such kind of content that they're doing now. So, and then we have people coming here for such kind of courses, and they are really challenged, like how should they prepare themselves, especially if they're going to the direction of STEM, so that at least when you come here, at least you know how to code, because some of the students, they have never done that before, whereas Germans start doing these things quite early.
Yeah, I mean, I was so surprised when you talk with Germans, and they're like, oh, they coded in the 60s, you know, and for us, when I even wanted to do my internship in Kenya, you know, like one of the companies, Rivertex, was still using some, I don't know, like which machines that were really backdated. And I really felt for ourselves. But then we came at a time, or at least many of us were, you know, grew up at a time where technology was not there, the internet was not there. But now I think even in Kenya, it's possible to now expose your child to this, to all these, like possibilities that are there online. And I would also want to just point out, like, STEM is not a must for every child. Like, let's not also force our children only into STEM. The world at the moment is really open for so many things, and so, like, let's encourage our children, more even in their soft skills, in their confidence and in life skills, in order to like survive in the world.
Yeah. And we have Tracy. So if you're interested, that's actually why we do these videos for free. No, we'll start charging very soon. It's so that you can get in touch with such people who can help you even evaluate your ideas, because you don't have to do it because someone else did it. Yeah, it's a very abstract area, and if this is really not your element, then it's difficult. Yeah. And hongera sana for how much you have achieved. Of course, there. I remember when I was looking for my second internship, I asked my commiliton, I don't know what you call them in English. Yes, and they said, no, you cannot get internships with the companies like those big German companies. But I told myself I'm going to try. There's nothing that I have to lose, and I managed to get into one of the Bosch subsidiaries for my internship. So if you're here and you're looking for an internship, just try. There's nothing to lose, but also because before you apply, get someone to check on your CV. Make sure you're sending the same format with people who are also applying for jobs. Yeah. Because it's very important. I've seen so many CVs in my life, and sometimes when I look at them, I'm just like, oh. So take time to talk to people within the network, talk to Tracy and the others who can come and review your CV, and also even try to figure out like which skills do you have, so that you can eventually get to the right direction. Let me see if I had one more question, and then we can go into, yes, I think we've covered everything. Anyone with a question, like towards us?
Yeah, I'll just give some conclusion about like what I really wanted to say today, just in case, yeah. For me, what I just want to bring across is, of course, if you want to do something, calculate the cost, of it, and unless you're told stop on your face, don't, just keep going with, if you're really convinced with what you want to do. And also, the second thing is there's power in networking and creatively using information you get here and there, because you don't finish studies and then, it's not like when you're now searching for a job is when you start networking. All these things build up with all what you've just been doing through your life, like the people you meet, and that's how kind of my life has been. I've never really gotten an answer just when I really needed it, but I've gotten a lot of ideas by interacting with different people, and that's kind of what makes me, make some choices, because you've learned something from someone, you've learned something from this team, so networking, I find there's really great power in it. And when you face intimidating people or statements or circumstances, because it's not only people who intimidate you with words, but when you have such moments, don't be angry at it, settle and find the truth and use it well, what's the truth about this? Because sometimes someone can intimidate you because they're jealous, or you can feel intimidated about something, but it's not, but it's, you can know that it's about my circumstance that is different. And so that's the truth about it. Your circumstance is different. It's not like this is impossible. So find the truth in things that intimidate you and still overcome, find out solutions to that instead of just falling back because you're intimidated. That's kind of, my main point for
cutting short. Wow, thank you so much, Tracy. You're a real light into the Kenyan community in Germany. I'm very happy to have known you, and you also support Kenyans in Hanover. So if you're in Hanover, you can get in touch with Tracy. At least she can show you around or try to help you to fit into the system. The charity has a question. Is there Can you see the question? Can see
Yeah,
the
let me
question?
read it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a reason why you didn't ask the company you're working the student job not to give you a job? Yeah, that's also an interesting thing. So where I was working as a student trainee, I asked for a job, and at that time the company was kind of going low, and they really would wish to take me. That's what they said, but they didn't take me. And I also had to just bite that thing positively, not knowing where I'm going, and accepted it. I'm still very I'm still friends with them. They are really, really nice engineering team also, and yeah, we are actually in touch up to today. So still have a WhatsApp group together, but then they just didn't have jobs at that time, and yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. Anyone else with a question you can ask before we close the meeting? We have 10 more minutes. Alafu tufunge mkutano. I can also recommend a tip. Go to exhibitions. Go to those exhibitions. They're really nice because you see that's where Tracy got her first her contact to this company. Some of us, we do not have the confidence of going to exhibitions because we grew up not going to exhibitions. Yeah, we grew up going to weddings and other social gatherings. Gather the courage. I remember. Yes, I remember my first time to go to the exhibition. I was like, what will I say if they speak to me? So I looked for a very good German friend of mine, and I said, can we go together because you seem to know how to behave, how to interact with people, and she really helped me. So maybe you can also do that if you do not have the confidence to.
That's true. And I mean, you had also mentioned about having German acquaintances or friends, who you work together in your studies. I also benefited a lot from friends I had. I also had this. Actually, she's the one who took me to this exhibition because I just saw the offer and felt like, there's nothing. But she told me, oh, Tracy, let's go together because I know that, this program that, they ask for students to go to this program and they would sponsor you to sleep in a hotel in Cologne. And she was like, oh, Tracy, let's go together so that when we have to be put in a hotel room, I can sleep with you in the same room and not with any other stranger that I don't know, because we would have to share so like the hotel room. And kind of that was my main reason of going there, just to accompany her. But then let's gain the confidence of using the opportunities that we have. Some you're even fully financed, I didn't have to pay anything to go for that exhibition and got something out of it. Yeah.
I totally agree. Anyone else with a comment? We can see experts also in the forum. Maybe you can also add something. You can also comment if you have anything to help someone who is listening to us tonight. Yes, something also which you can also do is you can volunteer with these German organizations, like I've seen Technik ohne Grenzen, or the other one is called Ingenieur ohne Grenzen, there's Stube in Bayern. They really help. Yeah, they really, really help you to get you to the system. And some of them, they're actually potential employers, yeah, because they volunteer for these organizations, but now they work for real companies. So you just never know when you interact with them where you will land.
For sure. Yeah.
I
mean, it's all these places, facets you find yourselves in, there's always something you benefit from it. Even volunteering, there's always something that will help you sometime later. I don't know how it works, but it does. It really, yeah.
It looks like nobody has something to say. John Wawero, yes, in Bonn. Sema.
Hello. Sorry, my camera is not working. So
no problem.
I am here. Yeah, my question is just a quick one on Tracy. Bosch is a big company, so I just want to know. I think it has a couple of interesting departments, especially for somebody who is on in the STEM field. So, is it possible maybe do they offer a program, or is it possible to go through some of these departments once somebody's inside there? That could be interesting for them to learn, or to know how processes operate there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big company with very complex systems, and I'm always open to support in any way, you know, like on an individual basis, or even if I also know some programs that are in there, I'm always ready to want to share, you know, with people. And I also, support, for example, like, what's it called? Tag their, what is it called? Where school students, like pupils,
Tag the orphanage.
Tag their orphanage, yeah, or girls. It used to be called Girls'
Day. Yes.
Yeah, where like school-going children would love to visit the company. At least I've done that once, and I found it like, okay, that's one thing I could continue doing, you know, in the company, and just bring school children to come and participate. And if there's something for universities, I would also love to be active and engage and bring people in there, and you know, and expose them to opportunities. I don't know if that was your question, John.
That was partly it. That was it. Like and also I was also asking in terms of somebody who's also working there, seeing that there are so many also talent programs that they do run.
Yeah.
But is it required for somebody? Somebody must. Most of the programs are in software engineering also. I will think so, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah. I mean,
okay. And they offer a possibility of training somebody also who has this maybe skills to advance them to.
A possibility of Bosch training them to advance to?
Yeah. Like a possibility of being trained, like I don't know, something like what? Yeah.
There's actually, it's a new thing that started this year with one of our department, like one of the business units, to train software engineers, and you know, to because kind of things are the world is going direction software, and we need to strengthen ourselves there also. So there's a lot of opportunities for software engineers. So also anyone in the group who can contact me, and we see what's there, you know, because also software is diverse.
Thanks. I saw.
I have dropped your LinkedIn profile. I think this is easier, then they can get in touch with you there.
Okay. Yeah.
If there's no one with a comment, I hope to see you all in Frankfurt. I have dropped the link of the event.
I have a question.
Abraham has something to say. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Tracy, if you're doing masters and there's a potential of when you select few modules to do, for example, 3 or 4, and per semester there's like 8 of them. There's that potential of taking more years to finish your masters. And when going to seek extension for visa, they might see that you're taking too long to finish your masters, and you know, balancing between work and studying is also not easy. Could there be a risk of you maybe being denied extension because they might see that you're taking long to finish your masters?
Sure, that's very true. That's a good point. There's of course the risk of the Foreign Office trying to you know, like pressure you to finish school because you're taking long. But then again, when you look at it, if you do a lot and achieve nothing, and if you do little and achieve something, you know, you have to strike what will really bring you far. And the Foreign Office, I don't think like, okay, from what I know is that they want to see you make progress. They don't want you to see, mostly it's about seeing that you're doing some progress, you're making some progress. So if you're actively working in your studies, and you're, you know, like at least passing some things, not passing some stuff, that is enough progress for them that you are active during that semester. So better do, you know, like weigh your capabilities and do less so that you finish, instead of doing a lot so that you and not achieving. Because one of my friends really helped explain it to me, you know, if this semester you have 100% of your energy and you start dividing them among 13 subjects, then you'll find yourself, and that's where I found myself actually. I'm always just below the pass mark, just always below the pass mark because I'm taking a lot. But if you try to focus your energy on a few subjects, then you find at least you can pass them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
But the Foreign Office is just not against you taking long. It's against you not making any progress and taking advantage of the student visa.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Ryan has a comment or has raised his hand.
Okay, I think maybe Teresa has covered it clearly already, but yeah, so what I wanted to say basically, yeah, there is no really repercussion for you when you when you take a bit longer in finishing your masters, and even for the Germans themselves, it's some of them take at least long. At least in my program, the people really take longer because at times the 30 credits can be overwhelming when you're working, right? So some people usually split it into taking maybe 15 credits. This could be like 3 units, right? But the good thing is that if for each semester you are finishing the units and also doing the 20 hours of work, it's okay. They won't be denied. And even when you're going to extend, you'll be also showing work and also semester, the semester certificate, right? Because that's usually needed. Plus, you can just carry your transcript or whatever for the case, and this will show you are really working towards it. It's only that instead of 2 years, it might take you 3 years, and that's still okay. Yeah, there's no really a big repercussion for that. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Brian. Yes, I also agree. Actually, like if you have a good student job, they have no issue with that. So they, as Tracy said, they really want to see that you're